Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel and a new episode of the Thomas Thrift Store Hauls series. There's been quite a few episodes recently, and that's mainly because I've been very busy and haven't had the time to work on other projects like new Trackmaster customs. So apologies for that. There will be a new Trackmaster custom coming soon, as well as a new generic railway short for the series. Anyways, getting back on track for those who are new. This is the series where we take a look at the many Thomas the Tank Engine items I find from the many thrift stores I go to. The items can range from wooden railway to various other forms of merch. We yet again have a good amount of Trackmaster engines and rolling stock to go over. One of them is very interesting and at least I'd consider to be quite rare. Will they be trash or treasure? Let's find out. But considering most of it is from the Trackmaster range, it's going to be treasure. No diecast engines for this episode, so we're going straight to the wooden railway range, and there's only two for this episode. First up is a 2013 Wooden Railway Thomas by Mattel. I really like the faces that the wooden railway engines had in this era of the range. They look really good. As for the rest of the engine, it's alright. Not really a big fan of the wheel arch being placed on the side of the engine, as it looks awkward. Lastly, we have a wooden railway Gordon tender, but not just any tender. It's the Talking Gordon's tender. Whoa, that's so cool! On to the motorized range of engines. As always, we'll take a look at the rolling stock and then the engines. First up is this really interesting coach. It's a branch line coach with a yellow paint job. I was really confused as I'd never seen this coach before. I tried my best to find any information about this item, but couldn't find anything aside from one listing on some website. I thought that maybe it was a prototype item as it was seen with Splatter and Dodge. I went to Twitter to see if anyone knew anything about this coach, and thanks to the user, Merrick and the Rock Crusher, I got the answer. This coach was exclusive to a Trackmaster starter set called the James Figure 8 set. So yeah, that was pretty cool. This coach kind of looks like something that would have come with like Flora or something. Overall, this is a really cool item. Next up is a Trackmaster Troublesome Truck. Always happy to get more of these. Next is the motorized version of Clarabelle. I love the redesigned versions of Annie and Clarabelle as they look fantastic. Some of the best versions of the characters I've seen. It was so cool to see these after the original Trackmaster 2 ones. The amount of detail here is fantastic and they look so good. Really wish we got more CGI stuff during this era, as I'm sure Mattel would have made some awesome stuff. The last piece of rolling stock is the mail van that came with the All Engines Go Party Train Percy. I like the first wave of All Engines Go stuff because they just reused the CGI era trucks, so you can just use them with the OG engines and they won't look weird. This is my third one of these. I really like these vans, but I'm not really a fan of the features on them. You can flip the side door so it can be a coach or a van. I never use these as coaches because there would just be a hole in the side of it, and the rest of the wagon is very obviously a box van. Onto the engines. First up is the Trackmaster Flynn, the one with the unpainted wheels. I don't have this item in my collection, so it's cool to have it. I have almost all the versions of Flynn in the Trackmaster range, just missing a few more. Next up is the classic Trackmaster Splish Splash Splosh version of Emily, but only the tender. Not much to say about it, but the chassis is really good for customs. Next is the Trackmaster 2 Gordon with no tender. We've seen this item a few times in this series, so it's nothing new. I do like this version of Gordon, one of the better designs from the Trackmaster 2 range. Here we have a Trackmaster 2 Toby. I'm kind of mixed on the motorized versions of Toby. I feel like most of the versions didn't really get him totally right. I do think the Trackmaster 2 Toby is the best version, but it still isn't perfect. We have some road vehicles too. Here's the Trackmaster Birdie. This one is the Hit Toy Company one, which I didn't have. And lastly, we have the Trackmaster Herald from the Superstation. It's not in the best condition, and there's not much to say about it either. We have some Thomas Minis to take a look at. Here's the Minis version of Henry, Golden Thomas, and Diesel 10. Lastly, we have two Thomas and Friends Mash'ems. Here we have Toby, and lastly we have Sir Topham Hatt. And that was everything. Let me know in the comments what item was your favorite. Mine would definitely have to be the yellow branchline coach. It might be an odd choice, but I really like it.